Hey, I'm Mark with the St. Louis Paranormal Research Society. I'm here at Gate 4 of the 7 Gates of Hell, just outside of Collinsville. I got Amy and Columbus over here, and Trish and Steve over here. Now, there's a story that happened back in '95. A group of kids were partying. They were driving drunk, and they hit this wall right here, and the car immediately burst into flames and caught fire, and all 3 teenagers died. A few years ago, I captured a picture of an apparition of a young lady standing up against this wall right here, and I wonder if that's the ghost of the young lady that died in the car fire. So I'll post a picture in the video here of the young lady that I captured. She's very faint, and I'll red circle her, but you can clearly tell it's a young girl who looks like she's wearing a hoodie. So this is Mark, the St. Louis Paranormal Research Society. Please like, share, and comment. Happy haunting.
Acid Bridge, Collinsville, Illinois. Acid Bridge is located on Lemedon Road and Troy O'Fallon Road in Collinsville, Illinois, and is marked one of the most haunted areas in the state. 7 railway bridges can be found on this road and are often compared to the 7 gates of hell. There is even an urban legend pertaining to the railway bridges, stating that if anyone makes it through all 7 of them at the stroke of midnight, the driver will find themselves being thrown into what is rumored to be a portal to hell. Acid Bridge is just one of the many railway bridges and has its own story as to how it adopted its name. According to some stories, a group of young kids were actually driving to the bridge while under the influence of acid. Unfortunately, the driver lost control of the car and they all went plummeting over the bridge, killing everyone inside. Some visitors have reported feeling cold spots in various areas, as well as unexplained noises such as hellhounds. The bridge itself is decorated with all kinds of pictures that look like graffiti. Many years ago, between the 1980s and 1990s, there was speculation that cult members would use this bridge for their practices. In fact, on July 20th, 1990, an unknown woman was found with multiple stab wounds throughout her body. What makes this murder even worse is that her female organs had not been recovered, meaning they were removed from inside of her. The identity of the woman was never unveiled, nor was anyone matching her description reported missing. Grand Climax is reportedly a satanic holiday that takes place over several weeks. Many children and women go missing around this time and have said to be used for ritual sacrifice. Bonfires have been reported in the area, as well as ghosts, weird shadow figures, and a black-colored car that would drive away from anyone who was found trespassing in the area. The next year in July, a local police officer had stumbled upon a woman mutilated and hanging from a nearby tree. A fire had been set to the bridge, creating speculation that it was to destroy any evidence of a possible crime. None of these horrendous crimes have been solved, leaving the local authorities and community baffled. This has been a production brought to you by T&J Paranormal Investigations. Our group consists of 3 people, Tiffany, Nikki, and Jeremy, coming straight out of Rockford, Illinois. Not only do we conduct our own investigations, we also research various haunted areas to bring you full entertainment. Like, subscribe, and share our videos on YouTube. We also have a Facebook group that is open to the public called T&J Paranormal Investigations. If there is a place that you would like to see on our channel, just let us know. Thank you for taking the time to check us out.
Coyotes. No, those are coyotes. I'll find out as soon as we get done video recording. Coming up on, huh?
I can shoot those weekly.
Just even fucking, what the hell? Even right up to it.
Well,
Caitlin.
this is fresh.
Hey, Caitlin.
Oh. And that is fucking weird.
This right here is fresh. This is really fresh. That whole tire mark is fresh.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like freaky.
This is glitter. Right here.
How did they get glitter?
Right there's glitter.
I want to know where they get glitter.
There's a dick.
There's more.
Huh?
Said there was more.
Oh, I thought you said there's a car. I was like, huh? Really? Friends forever. Oh, there's the creek. Oh, wow. They dumped all sorts of stuff down there. See all that crap?
Fires out the ass.
Wow. Let's go look on the other side. And there's stuff over there. Excuse me.
You have some nice arms.
I know you do. Oh wow, look, a refrigerator.
I've been looking for one.
Well, there you go.
It's a fucking refrigerator?
Yeah, right there.
What the fuck?
I've been looking for one.
Yeah, there you go. So anyways, we're on Acid Bridge. It looks like a chair.
It's a recliner. It's a chair.
No, up there. Right down.
Yeah, a recliner. And then you got tires. Dude, are you feeling anything really? I ain't feeling nothing. Did you feel anything at gate 3 and 4? Yeah, that's the only bridge. See, there's a stall.
That's the only place I sell anything.
Yeah, I ain't feeling nothing here.
But you guys were coming, when I walked ahead of you guys and was looking for that piece, there was somebody standing behind you guys.
Well, you guys also said somebody came across the bridge too.
See, now I'm getting a little something else.
It's on this side. We should have parked over here.
Like, yeah, look at that.
Oh, I can't really tell your hair's.
Goosebumps.
Oh, it's goosebumps showing up. I ain't getting nothing. So if these cars hit, and they call this Acid Bridge, how?
There's more dead on it.
See how this is bent?
Check the other side real quick. Alright, I got that. Car!
They could have hit from the other side.
Yep. Let's get off the fucking road.
Crash out Yeah.
Yeah, really bad trash.
We're just trying to pick up the trash, guys.
Like, they're really going to believe that.
We're looking for cans. We're looking for cans.
I asked.
There's a
Yeah.
book. There's a piece of page from a book.
Where one-lane bridge, both cars almost collided and they had to swerve off. This ain't no one-lane bridge. They said Acid Bridge was a one-lane. This ain't no one-lane bridge. Enough room for 2 vehicles to hit up on. And down here is where we're filling it, but nothing on.
Maybe they redid the bridge to be a 2-lane bridge.
No, if Acid Bridge was actually over there and they hit the concrete support, that's the concrete support. So they had to go under.
So this is new then.
This has to be new. They're probably talking about some other bridge way back in the past because this is way off course.
Oh, there's that.
Let me get a video of that.
1970.
So yeah, this thing's been here a while.
Car.
Well, they got enough room to get over to this one.
Well, still, I don't want nobody to get hit. Yeah. We'll get over. At least this will protect us somewhat.
I'm not getting it.
What the hell? That's a fucking
Rebel flag! Woohoo!
custom headlights.
I thought that was the car from
Back in the Come pick us up! Yeah!
I was like, wait, what the fuck kind of like is that?
Alright. Let's get our pictures and then we need to go figure out where we're going to go eat at real quick.
Madison County.
God damn.
Damn!
Smells like
It's-
fish.
It's not this side, it's that side.
Smells like fish.
Dead fish?
Fish. Yep. Smells like a can't fucking fish. All right, so what do you say about this bridge?
Fish too, though?
Yeah.
Oh, honey, I heard it down there.
Yeah, it's down there. So
I heard something get thrown.
we're gonna mark it at this end.
I heard something get thrown, like somebody just threw something.
Well, somebody could have jumped off and killed himself, and they're reacting in it. A bridge in 1970. Yeah, I can see it, but it's down there.
It's
not.
just like airtight. There's one side.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of shit down there.
Hey, there's a couch.
There's a bed.
Alright.
Now we know where to bring our females to. 2 beds. I get a bed, you get a bed. Hell yeah!
I'm Mark with St. Louis Paranormal Research Society, and I'm here on Acid Bridge, located on Lebanon Road between Collinsville and Lebanon, Illinois. Now, the story behind this bridge was that this was a party spot for a lot of kids throughout the generations, and several kids partied, they did drugs, they committed suicide by hanging themselves off the bridge, falling in the creek down below, and drowning. Car accidents, and the bridge is supposedly haunted by all the people that died on the bridge while they were partying or whatever. Now, a few years ago I was here with a friend of mine, and a Madison County sheriff pulled up, and he was kind of irate that we were here, and he told me that he once saw a body hanging from the trees right over here, and then once he pulled up and the entire bridge was set on fire. They poured gasoline and caught it on fire. The bridge is covered with layers and layers of graffiti by teenagers who used to party here. But yeah, this is supposedly a very haunted bridge. Also, over in this area of the woods over here is supposedly where a cult practices and does rituals too. So this is Mark with the St. Louis Paranormal Research Society. Please like, share, and follow. Happy haunting. Okay, I'm just outside Collinsville, Illinois at the Seven Gates of Hell. And this is the back side of Gate 4 right here. Let's go up and look. There are a series of railroad trestles that cross over some of Lebanon Road and some of the connecting streets. Now, this is an urban legend that goes back, as far as I know, as far as the 1960s. It's these railroad trestles are supposedly the site of devil worshiping ceremonies, satanic ceremonies. And a lot of people have died here at the Seven Gates simply because they've been hit by cars. If you look, these are just one lane railroad trestles built in the early 1900s, and they really weren't made for a lot of road traffic. And being one lane, kids often get trapped inside, and people will fly by and get hit. Now, the gates are supposed to be guarded by benevolent spirits. There's supposed to be demonic activity out here. There's always a creep factor here when you visit the gates, even during the day. Here we got this fog just rolled in about a couple minutes ago. Also, the gates are supposed to be guarded by some of the cult members. They will chase you away when you if you stop and try to check out the gates. But it's just an old urban legend. It's a creepy urban legend. I've seen a couple apparitions. Some of the best apparitional pictures I've ever taken have been at the gates themselves, especially between gates 3 and 4. And I definitely believe these gates are haunted. There's definitely some sort of paranormal activity here at the gates. But if you're interested in visiting gates 3 and 4, I do advise you to be careful. The people that live around here are somewhat protective. And just the one-lane roads and the way people travel by extremely fast, there's a chance to get hit. And the gates 3 and 4 are on the intersection of Lockman and Longhigh. So this is St. Louis Paranormal Research Society. Please like, share, and comment. Thank you. A question that gets commonly asked to me by new ghost hunters is, how did I get into the ghost hunting field? And when no one would let me investigate as a new ghost hunter, I would investigate urban legends. And this is an urban legend that I learned when I was in high school, and it's the legend Hernando's Bridge. Now, Hernando's Bridge is on Zing Road, just outside of Millstop. And this used to be a covered bridge, a wooden covered bridge. And when I was in high school, where this concrete bridge is today was a wooden slat bridge, but the covering was long since gone. Now, according to the legend, there was a witch. She was an evil witch that plagued this area, and her and a local farmer named Hernando had an affair. Now, the witch wanted him to leave his family and run off with her, but Hernando, not wanting to leave his family and not wanting to be known as an adulterer, and the witch being of questionable character in the community, he decided to stay with his wife and tried to keep the affair a secret. But what happened was the witch then was angered and placed a curse upon Hernando. And what this curse did was cause him to hang his family from this bridge, like from the roof of this bridge. Now, the story goes he hung them with a noose. Some of the more gorier urban legends was he hung them by meat hooks. But the one consistency in the story is that on a full moon, on the night of a full moon, you can see the body swaying in the water. And there's also another version of the story, is he hung them from the barn of his farmhouse. That one too seems a little bit more plausible. I don't know why this is a couple miles from the Hernando farm. So I think it would be easier to hang him from a barn than hang him from the rafters of the bridge, unless the witch wanted everybody to know about the affair, and he wanted to disgrace his family and disgrace his good name. But this is Hernando's Bridge. As I said, it was just out on Zing Road, just outside of Millstadt, Illinois. So please like, share, and comment. This is Mark Farley, and Cody Dog is in the truck right over there. But yeah, happy haunting, St. Louis Paranormal Research Society. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Tattoo Tony, and here we are driving towards the Spivey building, coming through downtown East St. Louis. Sorry if the camera's a little bit shaky. In any case, I want to start you off with a little bit of history. East St. Louis is a city in St. Clair County, Illinois, and it's right across the Mississippi River from St. Louis, and it's in what's considered the Metro East region of southern Illinois. This was once a very busy industrial center, like many other cities in the Rust Belt. East St. Louis has been severely affected by loss of jobs due to deindustrialization during the second half of the 20th century. In 1950, East St. Louis was the fourth largest city in Illinois when population peaked at 82,000 people. As of the 2010 census, the city had a population of 27,000, which is less than a third of the 1950 census. Some notable things you can find online if you're interested are the Great Railroad Strike of 1877, the Great Cyclone of 1896, the East St. Louis race riots in 1917, East St. Louis was also named an All-American City in 1959.
There's people back there. Yeah. Does that matter?
By the National League Civic League. East St. Louis celebrated its centennial in 1961 and was known as the Pittsburgh of the West.
All the way in the back. Keep going. Oh, shit. I don't know.
So, I'll give you some more East St. Louis history in the other videos that we do here. This building is the Spivey building. It's the tallest building in East St. Louis. Some people say it's 12 stories, some people say 13. Either way, it's the tallest building in East St. Louis, and it's easily visible from the interstate and most of East St. Louis. It's named for Alan Spivey. In his time, East St. Louis was a city of dreams, a place of jobs and optimism. People came from around the world to settle in East St. Louis because of its bright future and opportunities. And people once said if you couldn't find a job in East St. Louis, you couldn't find one anywhere. Driving around the town and seeing all the big empty lots and the crumbling stacks and remnants of industry that have long passed I could definitely believe that there was a lot of jobs available at one point. Mr. Spivey was a civic booster and the owner of the East St. Louis Evening and Sunday Journal, later the Metro East Journal. He ran his newspaper from this building and from the adjacent Journal building, which was built in 1936. The skyscraper definitely reflects his personal commitment to the future of this city, a future that never happened. East St. Louis was once the 86th largest city in America.
Where you want to go, bub? Where you want to go?
This was not a suburb of St. Louis, East St. Louis. It was a city in its own right. The population was at one time projected to reach 250,000. Now there's other information that places East St. Louis as being at one point the second largest city in the state. And if I hadn't mentioned this already, it was known as the Pittsburgh of the West and was definitely an industrial powerhouse.
Come over there. So watch yourself in that window, they can see you.
The 1914 city directory lists over 1,000 businesses. Now this building, the Spivey, was built in 1929. The building next door, which I'll explore on the channel and put up later, was built in the 30s. So this building, built in 29, is downtown, and it was part of a $4 million plan to give the city a skyline. The Majestic Theater, the Broadview Hotel, were also built around the same time, 1928. Now a lot of these floors that we go on, are just open and don't have much in it, but some of the views out the windows are really cool. There's also a really good view towards the end of this video where I look at the arch and out over St. Louis. Also find a couple kind of neat things in the building.
That was crazy. You see that?
Also in the Spivey building there were doctors, offices for doctors, dentists, lawyers, and other businesses. The theater in East St. Louis opened a year before the Spivey building and had a capacity of 1,743 patrons. Why do I mention the theater? It's on my channel in 3 parts. If you haven't watched that video, go take a look. The organ from the St. Louis, or the East St. Louis Theater, can be found in the Fox Theater in St. Louis, which is a magnificent building that actually has a history of really going downhill and decay and then redemption. It's beautiful today and has been restored to pretty much its original splendor. Now I'm reading some information. I don't know. This information I'm reading, I don't know how current it is, but it says that there's some plans for this building that are spend $6.2 million, $4 million from the city and state, not including federal tax credits, to convert this building into a high-end office space.
I'm getting B-roll.
But the building pretty much sits desolate and decrepit in downtown with a bunch of unused and abandoned storefronts and other beautiful buildings.
Yeah. Huh? Too close.
Here's a grill. That's an old hamburger. I couldn't figure out what it was at first. It's a decaying hamburger. Now, I don't know if somebody lost their appetite or what, but somebody was grilling, made hamburgers and brats. They were having a little party here. And just left everything. It's really kind of odd. The grill doesn't look in bad shape. Up above, I think on the next floor in this video, you'll see like some bread or buns. There's a pack of butter, some bacon, maybe some other condiments, stuff for the barbecue. Not really sure. The only thing I can think is maybe, I really don't know. I could make up a story though. Crackheads living in the building were planning on having a barbecue, ruined their dinner by smoking crack first, lost their appetite, and said screw it and left it all. I don't know. Now, East St. Louis is kind of considered an abandoned city, and about a third of the families live in poverty. The median household income is $21,000. But as we were driving the streets, shooting some footage and looking around, we actually found that there's some areas that have quite a few, halfway decent looking homes. We even found a few nice streets, so I'd almost be interested to kind of show that, because I'd like to show all the decay and the other side of East St. Louis, but I think it'd be real interesting to show people some of the stuff that looks pretty decent. And it's also, I guess it's not really that strange. People that are maybe from the area and have lived there for a long time and remember the old East St. Louis, and it's not a giant town, so they may know a lot of people still, but it's, these streets are intermixed with streets that are in utter abandonment and decay, and, schools sitting unused and decaying and damaged by fire, and old plants that are, industrial plants that are crumbling.
still here, though. Look. Somebody's recently staying here. Yeah. I know. How long do you think we would have hung out waiting for him? What the fuck is that? How long do you think we should stay? Let's just put the fuck up and put the fuck. What the fuck is that? I don't know. See, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. Let's move. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, come get your picture. Let's get the fuck out of here. This shit ain't safe, man. Huh? I heard I can take the picture. Oh my god. You got your phone turned on? Yeah. Okay. Hey. No doubt, hey. Huh? No doubt, huh? You're nuts. Maybe turn all the way on. Go ahead.
Now, Alan Spivey was the editor and owner of the Journal, and I'll be showing you that building too. I mentioned that earlier, and there's some remains, I believe, of printing operations in there that we'll see. And Andrew did push to go to the top floor, and I'm glad he did, because for some reason I thought I'd seen enough, and you know, he's a photographer and, you know, wanted the shot from upstairs, and I'm glad we went up there.
Get your picture, Bubba.
Now, I believe the city wants to tear this building down currently, but doesn't have money to do it. Part of the street is closed off around this building, and I assume it was because that either this building or some of the buildings around it may have had bricks falling off them onto the street. Here I am about to go out onto the rooftop. You can see a little bit of the arch there, and traffic in some of the other buildings below the interstate. There's the arch. Water puddling up here. I would have liked to walk across that. It's probably safe. I had rubber boots on, but I figured it was best not to push my luck and just go ahead and shoot there. And we're out of here. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.
This is a place where all your wishes come true. Many blame the limestone rock in the Mississippi water for so much of the paranormal activity in Alton. The rock holds the energy, the limestone retains the psychic residue from the dramatic events of the past, many of which can still be experienced today. This is indeed a spirited place.
Our energy after we pass, after our physical body dies, what we are, what we were in this life, whatever, it becomes a ball of energy, and usually that can be recorded because it gives off a glow, like a phosphorescent glow. And I have recorded many of them here. In all my years of working at this location, I have caught enough evidence here to proclaim that yes, this McPike Mansion is definitely haunted.
The most haunted building and the most haunted city in the world is the century-old Mineral Springs Hotel. The place is landlord to so many ghosts, it's like an almanac of spirits, a real booze who. But the one we meet is Cassandra. Cassandra was a 10-year-old girl who drowned during her birthday party in the basement swimming pool, once the largest in Illinois. Cassandra was running in play and slipped and hit her head and fatally fell into the water. Ever since, visitors have heard her screams, have watched her roll marbles, and have witnessed tiny wet footprints appearing by the pool.
Cassandra?
Brandon Klein from the Gateway Paranormal team is a happy medium. He uses a handheld ghost hunter's tracker. It detects the electromagnetic energy of spirits to see if Cassandra is around.
If Cassandra's in here right now and she wants to communicate, she'll come by and...
After calling to her, the lights on the device begin to flash. Jasper, my 7-year-old son, seems to connect with Cassandra, and they start to communicate. He talks to her and seems to hear her response. He shakes her hand.
Shake his hand? Oh wow, yeah, you're shaking his hand. Look at that.
And the lights in the device begin to flash rapidly. Jasper has become a ghoul's best friend, and after a spell he says out loud, "I love you, Cassandra." The lights on the tracker begin to fade. Brandon invites Cassandra to use our batteries to continue to communicate. We aim all our cameras, all our lights and recorders in her direction, and then, suddenly, all our devices go dead, and the room goes dark. Cassandra sucked all the energy from our batteries, Brandon says. "Who ghost here?" someone asks. No answer. Is this for real? I don't know. You should come to Alton and see or feel for yourself.
Hello, this is Mark with the St. Louis Paranormal Research Society. I'm here with my good buddy Cody, and I'm on Silo Station Road. Now, back in the 80s, before the Metrolink line here was built, this used to be a very popular hangout spot for teenagers to come and party on. Now, on the other side of the road over here, and you can't see it now because it's overgrown, is an abandoned railroad track. Back in the 80s, it was very active. And what teenagers would do, they'd come down this road here and they would party and they would play chicken with the train. One night, a teenager lost, and it said now that his ghost haunts this road. Happy haunting. Hello, this is Mark with the St. Louis Paranormal Research Society. I'm here in Southside Park in Belleville, Illinois. Now, 20 years ago, this was a road that led to the park. Now, some teenagers drove down the road in a stolen car and they ditched it here in the lake. A few hours later, a tow truck driver walked into the lake to hook the cable up to drag the car back out, and the cable got hooked around his leg and drug him under the car, and he died, drowned to death. Now people who visit the lake here claim to see his body walking up and down this walking trail. Happy haunting.